Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to thank and pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello everyone, and welcome to Work in Progress, the Personal Productivity Science Insights podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I am your host, Joanna. Let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Work in Progress. I am your host Joanna, and today we're going to be talking about digital addiction. More specifically, how digital addiction affects our attention spans, which can sometimes lead to reduced productivity. And today I'm joined by Güliz Uğur. Güliz is an assistant professor of management information systems at the School of Business at Sakarya University in Turkey, and she specializes in the field of management information systems. Hi Güliz, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. It's so great to have you here with us today. Just for those of us who don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself with a bit about who you are and what it is you do?
As you said, I'm the assistant professor of management information systems at Sakarya Business School in Turkey. I get my bachelor's degree and master's degree and doctorate degree at business informatics and management information systems. And also, prior to my academic career, I worked in industry in the area of business and management for over 5 years. And my research interests include social psychological theories, diffusion of innovations, and behavioral aspects of emerging technologies, and also digital addictions. And I like to give courses on management information systems, human-computer interaction, and social media. And that's me.
Beautiful. And that's amazing. Thank you for that. And how did you get into this line of work? What made you want to pursue this?
Actually, I am inspired of my aunt. My aunt is physics professor, Ayşe Özel, and she's also working in Turkey in Istanbul University. And I watched her in my childhood, and I wanted to be an academician actually, because I like to speak. I like to get in touch with young people, and it is fascinating to do the work that you love to do. And also, I like my courses and my interests. I like my hobbies. So I am a lucky person in terms of doing what I like.
Yeah, that's a lovely way to put it. And I'm so glad that you're able to do what you love. I know that you look at like behavioral aspects of like technologies. Can you share what you've found most interesting about that?
Actually, the most important and maybe terrifying thing is the digital things getting in touch so much with technology affects our brain. So if we have time, I also want to talk about digital demands because it presents that digital surrounding, the technological surrounding around us changes how we behave, how we think, and how our brain works. But through the show, through the podcast, I will talk about this by your questions, hopefully.
Yeah, great. I'm sure we'll get time to talk about that, so I look forward to it. I'd love to move into some more personal questions now where we can just get to know you and maybe even some of those hobbies that you mentioned as well. And moving on to books, do you have like a favorite book or anything that you've been reading recently that you love?
Actually, my favorite book and also my favorite movie is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But
Uh,
because we are on a podcast about digital addiction, I can say that one of my favorite books about digital addiction is Irresistible, The Rise of Addictive Technology and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked by Adam Alter. It offers insights into the addictive nature of technology and explores the psychology behind our digital behaviors. But also, I advise people to read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it is an exciting book, and also it helps us to have different perspectives when criticizing people.
yeah, they both sound like lovely recommendations, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is such a lovely movie to watch as well. So I'm
Yes,
so glad you talked about that one. And moving on to
and movie.
podcasts. Oh,
Uh, I skipped movie actually.
that's
Uh,
okay.
so, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a favorite movie, yes, but
Yeah.
I should mention the social dilemma because we are talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
digital addiction.
Yeah.
And this is a tough, provoking documentary explores the dark side of social media and raises awareness about the impact of digital technology on society and individuals' lives. Also, in my social media course, we are watching 3 minutes parts of the social dilemma, and we are discussing with my students. I advise people to uh, watch the social dilemma. It is approximately 90 minutes, but it's worth 90 minutes of our lives instead of TikTok videos. And when I talk about the podcast, the Productivity Show by Asian Efficiency, it provides practical tips, strategies, and interviews on personal productivity, time management, and optimizing workflows. And it helps individuals find a balance in their digital lives. People can watch the Productivity Show, but please hesitate to get in so much podcast full of days. So to not be a digital addictor.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Social Dilemma is actually a really great one. I remember watching it and it was so scary seeing like the reality of social media and like technology. So I think
Yes.
it's really important we watch that these
And the
days,
interesting
especially.
part is when you watch it, I say to my students, we are in Turkey and we are experiencing the same things. That is frightening because it doesn't it it doesn't occur only in our country. I wish it was just in our country and the rest side of the world doesn't facing these difficulties or the overloading of technology in their daily lives and being misinformed through social media. But this is the same for all countries, and this is more frightening, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a universal and
Yes,
global
yes,
thing. Yeah,
yes.
so it's really important to understand that for sure. I'd love to ask you if you have a famous role model or even just a role model in general in your life, could be anyone you know.
My role model for my academic life and in my family life, being a mother, etc., it is my auntie Aishan. But if we need to talk about a world well-known, popular, famous role model, Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook, can be an example of my role models. She has been
Yeah.
an influential figure in the technology industry, advocating for responsible technology use, gender equality, and empowering women in leadership positions.
Yeah, beautiful. And lastly, I'd like to ask you if there's a course that you've completed that's inspired you. Could be like your education or anything else.
Actually, I want to give an example of a course about digital addiction, digital well-being, managing technology for a healthy and balanced life. This course explores the effects of technology on well-being and provides strategies for developing a healthier relationship with digital devices, fostering mindfulness and setting boundaries. It was an inspiring course that I have completed digitally.
Yeah, amazing. It's great that, especially with your wealth of knowledge, that you're still able to refer back to all these that have inspired you, which is really great. And let's now move into our interview questions. So we'll get into the nitty gritty stuff. My first question for you is, over the course of your experience, how would you personally define personal productivity?
Personal productivity shouldn't be mixed with a factory's productivity, a manufacturing productivity. Personal productivity can be defined as the ability to effectively manage and utilize your time, energy, and resources to accomplish tasks and achieve desired goals. And also it involves optimizing efficiency, making effective use of available tools, sources, technology, etc., techniques. And also it includes prioritizing tasks based on their importance and impact. So it's like a project management of your life or of your daily routines. And personal productivity is not just about being busy or completing a large number of tasks. Rather, it emphasizes achieving meaningful outcomes and maximizing your potential with a given time frame. It involves self-discipline, organization, focus, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances to accomplish objectives efficiently.
Yeah, for sure. I think personal productivity can be a bit complex, but I think we'll be able to break that down a bit as we talk a bit more about digital addiction throughout the episode. Now, do you think there's any misconceptions when it comes to personal productivity?
Yes, one common misconception people have about personal productivity is that it's solely about doing more and being constantly busy. If you are constantly busy, you feel like you are very productive. However, personal productivity is not just about a quantity. It's about the quality and effectiveness of your output, of your work. Simply being busy and multitasking doesn't necessarily lead to greater productivity. And also another mistake people make is not understanding the importance of setting clear goals and priorities. Without a clear sense of direction and purpose, it's easy to get caught up in non-essential tasks or become overwhelmed by the sheer volume of work. By identifying the most important tasks and focusing on them, individuals can make better use of their time and energy. And also, additionally, some individuals underestimate the significance of taking regular breaks, practicing self-care, and maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Rest and taking a breath are essential for maintaining productivity in the long run. And ignoring these aspects can lead to burnout, decreased motivation, and ultimately hinder personal productivity. And the last one is people often overlook the value of continuous learning and skill development. Personal productivity can be enhanced by acquiring new knowledge, improving existing skills, and staying updated with the latest tools and techniques. Neglecting personal growth can limit one's potential and hinder overall productivity, and it will end with less and less productivity, and we will be demotivated at the end of the time. So, in conclusion, personal productivity is not just about being busy, but rather about focusing on important tasks, maintaining a healthy work-life balance, taking breaks, and continuously investing in personal development.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really great that we've established that at the start of this, because I personally know that I associate personal productivity as being as busy as possible and completing as many tasks as possible. But it's so important to understand that it's not about how busy you can be, but how effectively you can manage your time. And goal setting is really important. So I hope we get to talk a bit more about that as we go on as well. And getting into
Actually,
my next.
I need to add something. When you are talking, I remind the problem again. If our manage, you can maybe you are knowing how to get more productive, but sometimes our managers look forward us to be busy every time. According to our managers, the upper management or the one who looks for our productivity, they want you to be busy every time, because productivity equals being busy. If you are if you are, for example, if you are watching a movie in the work time, or if you are taking a cup of coffee, or maybe you are going out to the balcony side, then it means you are lazy. But at that time, I am I'm preparing myself for a more productive time. But maybe our managers or work routines doesn't take this normal. So this is another problem. The problem
Yeah.
of managers.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really great you also mentioned that. I personally haven't heard that perspective before, so that's really great to hear. And I would love to ask you now how you define digital addiction.
Digital addiction can be defined as a compulsive and excessive reliance on digital devices or technology, which interferes with the individual's daily life, productivity, and overall well-being. Actually, it involves a loss of control over the use of digital devices, leading to a preoccupation with digital activities and a neglect of their important neglect of other important aspects of life. Actually, digital addiction typically manifests in various forms, such as excessive use of smartphones, social media platforms, video games, or the internet in general. Individuals may feel a strong and irresistible urge to constantly engage with digital content, resulting in neglect of responsibilities, and decreased social interaction and negative impacts on physical and mental health. And also, I want to talk about the common signs of digital addiction, because maybe you are addicted to the digital technologies and you are not aware. Preoccupation with digital devices or online activities leads to neglect of personal relationships, work, and academic responsibilities. And the second one is difficulty in controlling or limiting the time spent on digital activities, often resulting in excessive use. Maybe you are losing hours on your smartphone and you are not aware. Probably you are aware, but you are not accepting it. And also experiencing withdrawal symptoms, irritability or anxiety when unable to access digital devices or online platforms. I will mention this refers to fear of missing out, FOMO in literature, and neglecting self-care, sleep, or healthy activities due to excessive digital engagement, failed attempts to cut back or control digital usage despite recognizing its negative consequences, and escalating the need for more time spent on digital activities to achieve the same level of satisfaction. And it is important to note that digital addiction can have detrimental effects on mental health, like digital demands, and it can harm social connections and overall well-being. Seeking help and establishing healthy digital habits are crucial steps towards overcoming digital addiction and finding a balance between the digital world and real life experiences.
Yeah, definitely. And I know at the beginning you mentioned that we've got this like addiction to it. How do you think we've developed a culture where we're so addicted to our phones or social media? How has that come about over time?
Actually, now it's not a part of our daily lives, but our daily life routines equals social media or digital technologies because uh, we need to use digital technologies to set the temperature of our house, or we need to use digital technologies to look over our health, physical well-being. We are wearing digital technologies, smart devices, smart watches, smart necklaces, etc. And also the COVID-19 precautions bring some digital addiction and more digital engagement to our lives. And we get used to use e-commerce for shopping, and we hesitated to go out and touch things physically, and we get more digital. I am working on the acceptance of technologies for more than 10 years, and fear of dying, fear of getting COVID-19 virus is being the most influential, most effective factor to engage, to accept digital technologies, which we have never taught before. Uh, we like technologies. We like to watch something because it it gets your brain. You get focused in the video and you get lost with it. But with the help of with the help of the requirements of new circumstances comes with COVID-19, especially, we get more in digital technology, a digital world.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you mentioned mental health before. Can you expand a bit more on that? Because I think it's so important, especially during COVID, like you said, people started using like technology, would you say as like a form of comfort and solace when they
Yes.
didn't have like physical like connections?
Actually, technology facilitates human life significantly. Uh, we can take advantage of technology, of course, and it takes our tasks on, and technology finishes the tasks nicer, better than a human being can finish it, maybe. And on the other hand, the imitation of human capabilities of technology has reduced the need for the workforce in enterprises, for example, and for the uh, efforts in our daily lives. And computers or machines have replaced people. And also with smartphones, computers, and cloud storage that can be accessed from anywhere, technology relieves people by performing simple decisions or memory tasks related to everyday life. And in this context, people do not need their memories not as much as they do before. So we get used to use our brain, but now we are using it less than before because technology takes our brains' work, and it takes on several responsibilities, especially the technologies established in our daily lives, make people lazy. And many
Yeah.
people note that what they will get on their phones when they go to the market, and they do not memorize phone numbers. Uh, for example, I have the phone number of my house in my childhood. I remember the phone number of my father and mother, which I memorized 30 years before, 25 years before. But now I don't know my husband's phone number, for example, because I didn't need to memorize it. I just
Yeah.
stored it in my smartphone. And also we prefer smartphone agenda instead of mental agenda. In this way, the need for mental abilities is reduced and brain training loses its place in our daily lives. And it's like a standard muscle. If you don't work it, it will be lazy and it will go down in terms of performance. And at the end, this brings us to digital demands, which is a very frightening list for people. It refers to a sensory mismatch in the brain from overutilization of technology and excessive slouch sitting postures, leading to signs and symptoms of dementia. Because, for example, when you are watching a video, the backside of your brain works under stimulation of the cerebellum, and it is here for accuracy, balance, and coordination of the circumstances. But when you are watching a video, the frontal lobe gets in pause mode, gets in standby mode, which is occupied for reading, motivation, problem solving, memory, and movement. So if you watch videos for a very long time, the frontal lobe gets in standby mode, and the back lobe continues to work. And this brings digital demands problems actually for our children, because they watch movie or they watch video for a very long time, and digital demands is a genuine threat, and overuse of screen time can lead to a host of physical and mental issues. And there are also some scientific research on this. For example, in United States, teens who spend greater than 3 hours a day using an electronic device are 35% more likely to have a risk factor to suicide than teens who use devices less than an hour a day. And also, additionally, 71% of teenagers who spend more than 5 hours looking at their device screens are likely to have a risk factor for suicide. I can talk much on to these problems, but let's don't skip digital addiction and personal productivity.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought it was interesting how you were talking about how like digital technologies have replaced a lot of simple human functions these days. Do you have any strategies that people can use to prevent or overcome digital addiction?
Certainly, they can set digital boundaries actually, but first they should be aware that they start to become digital addictive. You need to, if you want to solve a problem, you should know that you have a problem. So you should know that the digital addiction influences your personal productivity. Digital addiction digital addiction is harmful for your everyday routines, for your motivation, for your physical issues. Digital addiction can lead to distraction and reduced focus, and it can lead to time mismanagement, and excessive use of digital devices and platforms can consume significant chunks of time that could be allocated to more productive activities. Constantly checking social media or engaging in online entertainment can lead to delays in completing tasks or meeting deadlines. And also, spending excessive time on digital activities can affect cognitive abilities such as memory, as I talked. And also, it has negative impact on health and well-being. It can be harmful for your physical and mental health. Excessive screen time can contribute to sedentary behavior, eye strain, and disrupted sleep patterns, which can decrease overall energy levels and impair cognitive functioning, poor mental health, including in increased stress and anxiety, and lack of prioritization and goal orientation can be a problem because of digital addiction. And digital addiction can have negative impact on your personal productivity, and it is crucial to establish healthy digital habits. If you want me to mention the strategies, how can you prevent or overcome digital addiction? The first one is setting digital boundaries. Establish designated times for digital device use and stick to them. For example, you can allocate specific time blocks during the day for checking emails, social media, or engaging in online activities. And you can plan these through your digital assistants. It will say, now it is social media time, and it will say it is ending 3 minutes after. And implement digital free zones or technology free hours in your daily routine, such as during meals, before bedtime. Actually, before bedtime is harmful for your sleep, or during focused work sessions. And disable non-essential notifications. And it is also mentioned in Social Dilemma. I don't remember the name, but one of the former directors or former managers of Facebook, he was also asked, how can we prevent from digital addiction and this harmful aspects? And he says, disable the notifications. So it won't capture your attention. You will get involved with the technology when you decide to get involved, but it won't take your time it won't decide the time that you will get in touch with it. So disable the notifications on your devices to minimize distractions and interruptions. Consider using apps or tools that help you to track and limit your screen time. And engage in hobbies, physical activities, social interactions that do not involve digital devices. You can remember your friends, getting in touch with friends, having interviews was very motivating. Remember those good days. And also this can include activities like exercising, reading books, pursuing creative projects, spending time in nature, connecting with friends, family, face-to-face, etc. And if I need to conclude, you need to design unplugged days or weekends where you intentionally disconnect from digital device and focus on activities that don't involve screens.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed while you were talking that there seems to be like a pattern of remaining accountable when it comes to your technology use. So based on your expertise, how can an individual model more responsible technology use? And do you have any strategies they can use to be more accountable for how they use their phone, their laptop, or any device?
I have 2 accountability strategies that can help people model responsible technology use. One is accountability partners. Find a trusted friend, a family member or colleague who shares similar goals and concerns about responsible technology use, and set up regular check-ins or accountability sessions where you can discuss your technology usage, challenges, and progress. Share specific goals or limits you want to set for your technology use, and ask your accountability partner to hold you responsible for sticking to those goals. Consider using apps or tools that allow you to track and share your screen time and application usage data with your accountability partner, providing transparency and accountability. And my second strategy advice would be digital detox challenges. Engage in digital detox challenges with a group of like-minded individuals or through line communities focused on responsible technology use. Set specific timeframes for the challenge, such as a week or a month, where you commit to reducing or eliminating certain digital activities. Share your progress, experiences, insights with the group or community, fostering a sense of supporting and accountability, and consider creating maybe a reward system for successfully completing the challenge. This could be motivating, such as treating yourself to a favorite activity or item, but the reward mustn't be buying an iPhone, buying a new smartphone. These strategies work by incorporating social support and external accountability, which can be effective in promoting responsible technology use, because sometimes you need the help of other people because you are lack of controlling your technology engaged time. So we need responsible friends.
Yeah, I love this idea of an accountability partner. I think that's so great because I'm sure if you're going through digital addiction, your friends are too. So you can buddy up together and try help curb your digital addiction together, which is really great. So thank you for sharing that with us. And before you mentioned this idea of withdrawal, and I know a lot of us know that substance addiction has withdrawals. How does that work with like digital addiction? What does withdrawal look like?
Actually, the notion that digital addiction is different from substance addiction and doesn't cause withdrawals is not entirely accurate, in my opinion. While there are differences between the two types of addiction, digital addiction can indeed lead to withdrawal symptoms in some individuals. It is important to note that the severity and manifestation of withdrawal symptoms can vary from person to person. And withdrawal symptoms associated with digital addiction may include irritability and restlessness when unable to access digital devices or engage in online activities, and anxiety or a sense of unease when separated from digital technology, difficulty in focusing and or concentrating on tasks without the presence of digital stimuli, and strong cravings to check notifications, social media, or engage in online interactions, physical symptoms like headaches, insomnia, or changes in appetite when attempting to reduce digital usage. While the withdrawal symptoms of digital addiction may not be as physically severe as those experienced with substance addiction, they can still be significant and impact an individual's well-being and functioning. Regarding myths about digital addiction, there are some misconceptions. For example, digital addiction only affects young people or specific demographics. This is a myth. This is not real. In reality, digital addiction can impact individuals of all ages and backgrounds. It is not limited to a particular group. And also, digital addiction is a personal weakness or lack of willpower. This is not true. The reality is digital addiction is a complex phenomenon influenced by various factors, including the design of technologies, psychological factors, and environmental influences. It is not solely a matter of personal weakness. And people say only excessive gaming or social media use can lead to digital addiction. This is also wrong. The reality is, while gaming and social media are commonly associated with digital addiction, any form of excessive and compulsive digital device use can contribute to addiction. And this includes activities like excessive browsing, streaming, or compulsive smartphone use. And the last one is digital addiction is harmless and doesn't have significant consequences. If you're thinking like this, I can confess, I can promise it is wrong. The reality is digital addiction can have significant negative consequences on mental health, relationships, productivity, and overall well-being. It is important to recognize and address it to maintain a healthy and balanced lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on into our more practical side, I think it would be great to expand on what you said by bringing in your personal experience. So, are there practices that you use when it comes to preventing digital addiction?
Determining the most effective practice to prevent digital addiction can vary from person to person. However, one commonly recognized and effective practice, and also I like to practice this, is setting clear boundaries for digital device usage, because it is easy. You will have a start time and a finish time. This practice involves establishing specific guidelines and limits on when and how much time you will spend on using digital devices. Maybe you can design specific times for device usage, or like I said before, create technology-free zone or period. I prefer to design specific times for device usage. I prefer to use device when I get very exhausted from work, especially at lunchtime. I don't prefer to eat much on lunchtime, but I like to get involved in my smartphone or getting digital world, let's say. But when I come home, I don't use digital technologies. I don't even touch my smartphone, because if I get in this digital world, it is easy to get lost in it, and then I get far away from my family, and the communication quality decreases. I can feel it. I'm aware of it. So I prefer to use digital devices at specific hours and at specific locations, and not at home.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've got so much awareness around this, which is really important. But for people struggling to even realize that they've got a digital addiction, what are like the first steps that you've maybe used or you can suggest that people use to kind of gain more awareness around how digital technology is impacting their life?
Actually, there are so much challenges when you decide to do these practices. For example, temptation and fear of missing out, FOMO. It can be challenging to resist the temptation to check notifications, social media, or engage in online activities. So it can be hard to follow the boundaries. It is easy to set boundaries, but it is hard to follow them. So, like we mentioned before, it makes it easier to have a friend or a colleague who is checking if you follow the rules of getting in digital connection with your devices. So you will report your digital engagement, digital activities to your friend or family member or colleague. And also he or she will report himself or him or her activities. And this can be motivating. It is like a digital detox challenge. You should have a carrot. You should have a reward to get over this hard task, following the boundaries, and the frequency with which people practice setting clear boundaries for digital device usage can vary greatly. It depends on your individual preferences, actually. For example, I don't use telephone, I don't use smartphone or technological devices at home. But maybe you need to use them at home. For example, you have an unhealthy family member, so you should check your phone in hourly basis, maybe. So it depends on your individual preferences, lifestyle, work demands, and personal goals. Some individuals may practice having digital detox on daily basis, while others may adopt it as a weekly or periodic routine. But I prefer technology-free weekends and technology-free home hours.
Yeah, amazing. And with practices like this, like with boundary setting, for example, would you recommend that everyone adopt this practice, or do you think it's important to find what works for you as an individual?
Actually, it changes from person to person, because While setting boundaries for digital device usage, it can be beneficial for many individuals. Whether or not to adopt this practice ultimately depends on personal preferences, lifestyle, specific circumstances. Individual needs and goals are important. The suitability of this practice varies based on your needs and goals. Maybe you have professions or responsibilities that require constant connectivity, while others may prioritize minimizing digital distractions to enhance productivity or focus on personal well-being. So you need to consider your own needs and goals to determine if setting boundaries aligns with your desired outcomes. And also, certain professions or academic pursuits may necessitate frequent digital engagement or connectivity. In such cases, it may be challenging to implement strict boundaries. However, even in these situations, finding ways to manage and optimize technology use can still be valuable. And if you find yourself experiencing negative effects of excessive digital use, such as decreased productivity, disrupted sleep patterns, or impaired social interactions, setting boundaries may be particularly beneficial because it can help restore balance and mitigate the negative impacts of technology on your well-being. And some individuals naturally prefer or function well with less technology use, while others may feel more comfortable with a high level of digital engagement. So you need to consider your own preference and lifestyle to determine the extent to which setting boundaries aligns with your values and lifestyle. Because I don't mean to say digital technology equals a very harmful, very bad thing and it doesn't have any advantages. I'm not saying this because actually my area is management information systems. I'm focused on information systems. I focus on the advantages of technologies in our lives, but we need to have a balance. And if you believe that setting boundaries can positively impact your productivity, well-being, and overall quality of life, I would recommend exploring this practice and experimenting with different strategies that work for you. It can be helpful to start with small steps and gradually adjust your digital habits based on your experiences and feedbacks. If you are so digital addictive, maybe you can start with just 1 hour without any digital notification. 1 hour without videos and smartphone related experiences. Only 1 hour a day. You can start with this.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you think that implementing boundary setting in your life has changed your personal productivity?
Actually, I can see the change in my productivity because, for example, by setting boundaries, I created dedicated time for focused work and activities without the distraction of digital devices. And this enhanced my ability to concentrate, stay focused, and accomplish tasks more efficiently. And also, I am an ADHD survivor. And digital getting in so much in relation with digital technology is really so harmful for ADHD survivors. For attraction disorder was the long form for ADHD. Attraction disorder and hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah, something like that.
I forgot.
Yeah, I've forgotten too.
I know the Turkish form, but ADHD survivors will capture it, so it doesn't matter. And setting boundaries, attraction deficit hyperactivity disorder. Thank you, studio, for helping me. Setting boundaries allows me to create a clear separation between work and personal life. And especially working from home because of COVID, the and the university education, we gave it from our houses. Distance education was be a part of our life with COVID, and so work life and personal life balance actually it is faded. But now, if we set boundaries, then we can set a clear separation between work and personal life, maybe, because then we won't come distance workers. Because when you look at your emails or your work-related issues when you're at home, that actually you are distance working. If we design specific times for device usage and offline activities, we can better manage our time. I'm managing my time in a better way and prevent work from home and harming my personal life. And this promotes a healthy work-life balance for me and help me to recharge and engage in activities that bring me joy and fulfillment. And also, it increased my mindfulness and well-being, being a little bit far from digital technologies. For example, I hesitate to watch movies and videos when I'm at home, and establishing boundaries for digital device usage encouraged me to be more present in the current moment. By reducing distraction and interruption from technology, I cultivated a greater sense of mindfulness and engaged more fully activities, relationships, experiences, and this contributed to improved well-being, reduced stress, and increased my overall life satisfaction, and also strengthened my relationships. I created opportunities for meaningful interactions and connections with others, my family members, my friends, and I started to engage in deeper conversations, strengthen my relationships, and foster a sense of belonging. And this motivated me, and this leads to a more fulfilling personal relationship and greater sense of connectedness for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your personal experience with us. I think it's really great to have that personal experience to back up like everything we've been talking about as well. And I'm sure a lot of people listening will be able to find that relatable as well. I'd love to move into some questions that we have from the audience now. And my first one is, are there any long-term consequences of chronic digital addiction on our attention span?
Yes, chronic digital addiction minimizes our focusing time span because, like in digital demands, like I mentioned in this part, it decreases our focus time because we cannot focus on something, for example, for more than 5 minutes because we get bored, because our brain gets used to see changing images in digital games, changing images in the videos, and it becomes boring to us to just looking at a slower image. So we cannot listen to a person, for example, in a course or in a meeting for a long time. We start to think about other issues, and we find other ways to distract our mind. Maybe actually, you can be sure that it minimizes the focusing time span, and it is also very harmful for children and teenagers because they should be focused for at least 20 or 30 minutes to understand what the teacher or the faculty member is talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it kind of links into the next question, which is what are some of the cognitive and psychological effects of digital addiction on, for example, our concentration or ability to retain information or just stay focused in our work?
Actually, we cannot get focused for a long time if we are digital addictive, and also we have social problems because we forget how to get in touch with people. Actually, I'm observing this in my students. They can write nice emails. They can get in touch through chat boxes, but they are not good at talking face to face. This is a problem, actually, because if you are a human being, getting in communication and talking face to face is one of our most important abilities. And with technology addiction, we forgot this feature of our body, feature of our brain. Because if you don't do exercise, if you don't exercise your brain, if you don't exercise looking eye to eye, then you forget it, and you cannot. You can. When you look at the children, when you look at adults and teenagers, it is so sad to say, but they cannot get in communication for longer than 10 minutes. They cannot talk like us. For example, now we are talking for more than 1 hour maybe, but you cannot talk with a person between 18 and 25 years old for this long time, because they lose their focus, and also they get bored when talking.
Yeah, definitely. And I think seeing the impact on our attention spans, it's been so detrimental to society. And I think it's really great that you've brought that up. And there is such a disconnect, like you said, due to the prevalence of digital technologies. And it's made it easier for us to connect online. But as a result, we've like lost a sense of ourselves in real
Yes,
life.
yes. Yeah, there are very great problems in terms of memory. Like you said, it decreases your attention time span, and also it can have impact on both short-term and long-term memory, and constant multitasking and divided attention, common in excessive digital device use can lead to encoding and consolidating maybe new information into memory. And furthermore, heavy reliance on digital device for storing information can reduce the use of active memory processes, potentially affecting memory recall abilities. Your memory forgets how to recall something, so you don't lose your long-term memory for a very long time. So it is unused. So it is it's in dust now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's just so important to realize how it's impacted the way our minds work as well. I think it's so hard to step back sometimes and see how digital addiction has actually affected us because we're so like ingrained into different practices, like being on our phones for such a long period of time. So the conversation we're having today is super important and super relevant in our society today with this massive social media culture. So it's been great that we've been able to talk about that. Now, before we wrap up, I would love to talk about our open mic section with you and give you a chance to talk about anything that you're passionate about. So is there anything you'd love to share with us?
Actually, I don't want to talk about sad or negative things, but because we are talking about digital addiction and it's a problem, I will continue to talk about pessimistic perspective to the digital era. I want to remind that technology facilitates human life significantly, maybe alleviates the burden of individuals on some issues or takes on the tasks altogether. But on the other hand, the imitation of human capabilities of technology has reduced the need for the workforce in enterprises and also in our daily lives. So with smartphones, computers, and cloud, etc., that can be accessed from anywhere if you have internet. Technology relieves people by performing simple decisions or memory tasks related to everyday life. And in this context, people do not need their memories as much as they do before. And the technology actually helps us, but we should try to make the balance between technology and human tasks to not be lazy. And we should try to memorize, for example, the things that we are going to buy from the market. We should try to memorize the phone numbers. Maybe we shouldn't prefer smartphone agenda, and we should prefer mental agenda. Because if we do not do these, the need for mental abilities is reduced and brain training loses its place in our daily lives. And this brings many health problems. And I lost my mother 8 years ago because of demands, frontotemporal demands. Of course, she was not so much engaged with digital technologies, but I know that demands, forgetting things, cannot remember what he or she will say. These kind of problems are the worst problems maybe a human can face through his or her life. Because if you have cancer, you can overcome it, or maybe you will fail and your life will end. For example, my grandmother was died because of cancer, but my mother survived with demands for 7 years. My grandmother died in 6 months because of cancer, but my mother, who was a pharmacist and he was engaged in social life, her death took 7 years. She lost her memory step by step. The brain was working, but the frontotemporal lobe was not working properly. So the problem started with forgetting the words that she should use. She was saying, what was the word? She was saying this most of the time. And I see, I lived with a dementia person, and it is very problematic. It is very sad, very negative issue. And when you see this, you understand that the advantages of technology, okay, there are so much advantages. You can set up the temperature, you can set automatic meetings, you can do so much thing automatically. But when we come on the dark side, the back side of the technology, getting less brain exercise, making less memory exercise, bring many health problems. And dementia is not easy. Dementia is not an easy problem. Memory related health problems are the worst problems, in my opinion. The damages of the damages of radiation emitted by technological products, and especially mobile phones on the other parts of the body, especially the brain, are not known but have been discussed for years. And neuroscientists have concluded that only the back region of the brain is functioning and the other regions are operating at a lower level during the time spent watching content on mobile phone or watching content. If you are watching a content, this part is working, but this part, the frontotemporal lobe, is working at a lower level. As a result of these findings, the concept of digital demands has emerged, and the concept of digital demands is interpreted differently by scientists from different disciplines. Neuroscientists study the functions and active passive states of brain lobes. On the other hand, technoscientists use this concept based on the finding that technology weakens human memory. But most of the time they say, yes, your memory is weakened maybe, but your energy, your effort in terms of technological word, your CPU is located on other businesses. Technological scientists say this, but I'm not on this side. They should say things like that because you should continue to buy technological tools, but please be aware that there are different perspectives on the concept of digital demands. Please try to read the comments, the thoughts, the blogs of neuroscientists about digital demands, and please be aware of what you are losing. Yes, you are losing your family. Yes, you are losing your friends. Yes, you are losing your productivity. You are losing human-specific abilities like getting in communication, working face-to-face, hugging, feeling the warmness of somebody else. And also, if these social issues are not important for you, please be aware that you are losing your mind, you are losing your memory. And I promise, I think this is the worst thing a human can face to his or her life, having brain-related health issues.
Definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us as well as your personal experience. That was really great. And that's all we've got time for today. But thank you, Güliz, for joining us and contributing to the much needed conversation surrounding digital technology and digital addiction. And for those of us who want to find out more about you, where can we go?
You can search for my name and you can find my email address, my Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter accounts. I hesitate to be a digital addictive, but of course I have social media accounts. And also they can read my articles about digital demands or digital addiction. But if they are looking for further information, or maybe if people wants to share their digital addiction related problems with me, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Do not hesitate to get in touch with me through my email. I'm checking it every time because the notifications are open. My email notifications are always open. But of course, when I'm sleepy, I won't look at them. So please feel free to get in touch, write email whenever you want. I will look at them when I am available.
Beautiful. Thank you so much again for being here. And we also have Güliz's details in the description below. And to everyone listening, please don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using. And until next time, thank you guys. You have been listening to Work in Progress, the Personal Productivity Science Insights podcast produced by Life Management Science Labs. Listen to episodes from LMSL's 10 Life Management Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or other podcasting apps on your smartphone. If you enjoyed this show, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps other people find it and us grow to bring you more quality resources. More of our work can be found on our website, pp.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Joanna. Thanks for tuning in.